everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of All Supers Ranked. Just a heads up, this is part 2 of a 2-part episode. If you haven't seen the first half of All Street Fighter 4 Supers Ranked, please check that out above up here. If you want to see the conclusion of this list, then let's move on ahead. Starting off part 2 with one of the most iconic Street Fighter staples, Akuma's Wrath of the Raging Demon, which I think is good. Honestly, it's never been my favorite special in the Street Fighter games, but this one is still a good take of it. The symbols appearing, Akuma telling you to die 1000 deaths as the screen goes black as he targets your soul. Still a mystery on how he does it, which is cool. Ending it with him standing over your body, pretty good, and you'll see how this gets improved in the next title, so stay tuned.
Prepare yourself! Die 1000 deaths!
Making their return from part 1 is Sea Viper with Burning Dance. This is such a pretty looking super with some nice flashy visuals, mixing elements of fire and electricity much better than Burst Time. I love how she rides them like a longboard while setting them on fire, flipping them in the air, striking their head and then electrocuting them, all flowing super well together. This was even referenced in her level 3 hyper combo in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, so the team really liked this one quite a bit. Way to come back with one last dance.
Full throttle!
Looking at the second of 4 of Gen's ultras, this being Zetsue. This one makes use of a bunch of quick strikes with the opponent reacting way after the strikes hit, almost like a lightning blade move from Samurai Showdown, but a lot less bloody and about 5 times the slashes. Pretty cool to see this oldie pull off quite the flashy super.
Aha! You cannot dodge what you cannot see!
At 42, we are taking another look at the Mad Gear Gang member, Rolento. With his first being a literal blast, his second one is quite unique from a fun visual perspective. By using a cable to choke the opponent is already creepy enough, but throwing them in the air and having a Mad Gear Gang member stick to the corner of the screen, giving the illusion that the corner of the screen is choking them out, is extremely innovative and cool. Guess Rolento's opponents just love hanging around.
Get set!
Kicking in both literally and figuratively at 41 with Gen's third ultra combo, Taiga. With this one being performed in the air, Gen does this version of the Maximum Spider from Marvel vs. Capcom, but with his feet, which is probably somebody's kink. I love the use of the ink swipes with each stroke and a slowdown when he strikes their face to end it. Like this super, it kicks ass.
Separate, die, coward!
Cracking into the top 40 with Cody, the frequent brawler from the Final Fight series who served time in jail. You can tell he's quite the brawler with his ultra, Final Destruction, changing the camera angle to show many heavy strikes and ending with a Cody staple, the Tornado Uppercut. Quite the fun and brutal one to look at. He may be a criminal in SF4, but this super is also criminally underrated.
You ready to start fighting for real? Get back! Upsie! Boring the crap out of me.
Hey, we're finally looking at one of the 2 characters included in Super Street Fighter 4, Guy. Bushingo Raizen Pujin, I really hope I said that one right, is extremely quick, but it includes one of my favorite takedown grabs to make a Hayabusa happy, the infamous Izuna drop. Kicking them airborne to jump off the borders of the screen to slam them down to the ground is quite impactful and looks painful. This Guy really got the drop in on the opponents. Yoon strikes in at 38 with Yoo-Hoo. Full of quick cuts selling some heavy hits, this does a great job looking like each strike is extremely painful. My favorite part is where the opponent is taken off their feet as he delivers a final hit to their core, sending them airborne. All of this flows super well, and I love Yoon's taunt during the beginning, which just includes the right amount of personality. The final hit reminding me of someone else we haven't talked about yet, which we'll get to see soon. Overall, it's a great one.
Hope you like this! Get ready!
And speaking of final strikes, Makoto. As I just mentioned in the last super, Yoo-hoo did a great job striking each part and ending it by hitting them and sending them airborne. Makoto is nearly doing the same thing, but she does two different things. One, a hit to the face and the taunt afterwards, which, fun fact, translates to 5 punches at 5 heights along the center line. Just the right amount of personality being injected by Makoto here. Overall, quite the quick but very memorable one. Let's get weird with the Turkish oil wrestler, Hakan. Once this guy was revealed, my first thought was, yeah, this is going to be a goofball character. But don't let that think his supers won't be memorable. Both are very solid and are weird, starting off with Oil Coaster, where he spins the opponent around his oily body, building up the momentum and then launching them against the wall of the stage. Yeah, it's extremely weird, but you can't deny how creative this one is. Hakan's super is quite the roller coaster in terms of excitement. It's been quite some time since we've checked in on this tomboyish fighter on the roster, but we're checking out Sakura's second Ultra, Haru Ranman. This one includes a fun start with some hits, but the cinematic kick with the literal kick to the face, spiking them down like a volleyball and then Goomba stomping them to end it all. All of this including that Sakura charm too, which is what makes this one really stand out, even if the hits weren't the best. Haru Ranman, this one's actually pretty good. Wear a spiral arrow wing into number 34 with Decapre's second Ultra, DCM. Talk about a major improvement over her first lackluster one. DCM cuts in with a great one by kicking them into the air and executing a bunch of psycho slashes, really reminding me a lot of Strider Hiryu's Ragnarok super from the Marvel vs. Capcom games. I love how she ends it by stabbing them and then sending them to the ground. Where the first one just threw stuff to the wall to see if it would stick, DCM just took a stab at it with effort and completely nailed it. At 33 with Poison's second Ultra, the Love Storm. Where the first one was innovative by including a kick to the good old scone Geelies, the second one makes use of her whip and beats their booty like no tomorrow. It really fits Poison's attitude and it feels like something only she would do. I love how she ends it with the wind up to hit their face too, along with the pink bolt of electricity to make it stand out, and also matching the theme of Love Storm. Love this one quite a bit. After making a disappointing start in part 1, Dhalsim makes up for it and goes crazy with the second Ultra combo, Yoga Shangri-La. Yet again with another weird super, but extremely fitting to the character, by using his long arms to pull himself into their head to headbutt them over and over and over again, ending it by drilling into their head and then drilling them into the ground. I was going to come up with some long arms joke here, but I think it would be too much of a stretch. So, way to totally redeem yourself, Dhalsim.
Come with me, friend. Yoga Shangri-La.
We're wrapping up the last of Gen's Ultra combos with Shitenketsu. We really haven't seen too many supers that involve pressure points, but this one really nails it. Gen launches a flurry of strikes to various pressure points to the opponent's torso before hitting one final point to their forehead. The opponent being frozen in place as these strikes hit is really unique and it helps make it stand out. Of the 4 supers Gen has, Shitenketsu is definitely the greatest one of all of them. I can't really put my finger on why though. Someone will just have to point that out in the comments.
Say goodbye! No passion.
We are 2/3 the way through this list by looking at the well-mannered English boxer and my brother's favorite street fighter, Dudley. This is such a weirdly effective one, Dudley striking the opponent with his iconic corkscrew blow, following it by hitting the corkscrew cross, sending the opponent flying back against the wall in a cyclone. Though it doesn't have too many hits, it stands out with the fun framing along with the opponent flying and spinning against the wall of the stage. It packs quite the punch.
Try to counter this. Corkscrew. The end.
Jumping back once again to my favorite Street Fighter, Ken Masters, with the Shinryuken. Probably one of my favorite level 3s in any game he's been in so far, next to Shinryu Reppa from Street Fighter 6. Ken striking the opponent with a Shoryuken, following it by a flying kick, 3 more kicks hitting the legs, chest, head, which is very similar to his Shippuden Raikyaku, ending with a fiery uppercut and taunt. It looks so fun and it really fits the character extremely well. I've got no real complaints with this one. Keep killing it, Ken. I'm looking forward to covering more of you in Street Fighter 5 and 6 coming soon. At 28 with Fei Long's second Ultra, Genkariken. Another counter-based super, but includes some more Bruce Lee homages. I love how he buckles their knee and sends a flurry of punches, and ends with an appropriate use of a 1-inch punch to their gut. Way to punch right in with a memorable super. Fingers crossed Fei Long returns in Street Fighter 6. I feel like he really deserves it.
Come at me from whatever direction you want.
Number 27 with the Ultra that took the most amount of attempts for me to pull off, DJ's Climax Beat. With this one, DJ pulls out a pair of maracas, rattling them before throwing the opponent upwards to then deliver a machine gun upper, sending them airborne. Way to wrap this up with a powerful punch to the side of the opponent's ribs as they're already falling over. A real cool fun fact with this one is that this Ultra does the most amount of hits, with an astonishing 44 hits. Way to keep the party going, DJ, with that Climax Beat.
Get lost in the beat!
Cody's last Dread Dust lands at 26. At first, this looks almost similar to Balrog's Violent Buffalo Super, just a string of punches and that's it. However, Cody changes it up by hitting them with a wrench over and over, knocking them airborne and then home running them with a pipe and then getting them stuck into the wall for a second. Honestly, that has to be my favorite part, and it's also extremely satisfying when that's the final hit. Way to make your opponents bite the dust, Cody.
Making me sleepy. Crash! Get out of my face! Finished practicing now?
It's been quite some time since we've seen this character, but we're in the top 25 looking at the android Seth. With a first disappointing outing with Tandem Typhoon, he makes up for it with Tandem Stream, pulling the opponent with a Cyclone, to which enters Seth's stomach orb thing. He charges them up and then shoots them against the wall, bouncing off the screen. Yet another weirdo super move that includes so much personality and charm, something only Seth can pull off. Way to shoot your shot and make a memorable super move. And I can't wait to see you in Street Fighter 5.
See what I'm really made of. Become a part of me. It's over.
Entering number 24 with the Native American from Mexico, T-Hawk. Raging Typhoon is such a great throw-based super, performing a Mexican Typhoon, winding them up before throwing them down with such impact that they bounce. You think that it would be over, but Hawk ends this move by landing on the opponent's back in a seated position, performing the signature one-handed wind-out house salute. For the small number of moves it has, it's extremely impactful and memorable. Really happy to see a variation of this return in Street Fighter 6 with Lily. So, good work, Hawk.
Raging Typhoon!
At number 23 with the dictator himself, M. Bison. Both of his supers are extremely solid, starting with the Nightmare Booster. A great use of the Psycho Crusher to send them airborne with a somersault skull diver, then flying above them, sending them to their grave with a head press. All of this flows extremely well and capturing a lot of Bison's personality during this super. Just watch and see.
Scream in pain, Nightmare Booster! This place shall become your grave!
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling good about 22 with Guy's Bushin Muso Renge. Introduced in Alpha 2 Gold, Guy hits them with a flurry of kicks, changing the background and zipping in front of and behind the opponent, sending them all along the stage. He caps it off with a black screen and a bunch of hits, similar to Akuma's Raging Demon. I do love the use of the ink lines to sell the quick speeds and the sound effects. It comes off as super impactful. Probably the coolest way to do the Raging Demon type of attack as well, by having a big lead up of hits before the cut to black. Like this super, it zips in and deserves its placement.
Nothing personal.
Speaking of bringing up this demon, we're demon dashing into the 21st spot with Akuma's second ultra, the Demon Armageddon. Akuma hits the opponent airborne and then zooms after them with an extremely powerful Tatsumaki. As he hits the opponent, the giant red kanji symbol meaning heaven appears, along with him saying the other realm awaits. Some may find this super a bit weird, but I really dig it and prefer it over his Raging Demon in this game. According to the game lore, this is the most powerful version of the Tatsumaki, and with that, Akuma can fly away like he did with this super, but it won't be long until we see this Raging Demon again.
The other realm awaits.
We're finally entering the top 20 ultra combos with M. Bison once again with Psycho Punisher. As he needs souls to fuel himself to become stronger, like Shang Tsung, he rips one out of you to power up. This is just one of the coolest ways to do it, punching into their gut and then pulling their soul out with that gross sound effect. What a good way to go out, Bison. Your super's got soul.
The end has come. Kneel before my psycho power. Ah, such weakness.
Entering number 19 with Bryshen Mahaken, or the Thunderquake Demon Bashing Fist. This one is just so flashy and it looks extremely cool, by slashing them with the beam from his hand, quick cuts, and then ending with multiple strikes and the flash at the end. It's extremely quick, but you'll remember it for quite some time.
So you!
Looks like you couldn't avoid that one.
It took plenty of time until we got to Adon, but here we are with the other Muay Thai fighter with his first super, Jaguar Avalanche. Jumping onto the opponent's shoulders and then delivering 4 fierce hand chops across their chest, knocking them down with the 5th hand chop strike and finishing them off with a brutal stomp to the midsection. My favorite part with this one is where he's airborne and how the camera tracks their movement as he's striking the opponent. This one is just loads of fun to watch. As much as I don't really like Adon or really care for him that much, this super really chops right in and does its job effectively. Ibuki makes her way at 17 with Yorotoshi, or also known as the Armor Piercer. It's been some time since we've seen some ki-based supers, but Ibuki does something unique with it, charging a blast similar to Chun-Li's Kikosho, and then launching a beam of her power through the opponent. Visually, it looks stunning and is awesome. This super does a great job piercing its way into the top 20.
Get ready! Dodge!
Wrapping up Yang's supers with Attention Senkyu Tai. Yang kicks the opponent upwards and delivers a flurry of kicks before finishing with 2 forward high kicks to the face, which sends the opponents hurtling away. It's another one of those super quick supers, but is paced extremely well and looks extremely painful. Way to go, Yang. It's really good, but it's not much of a 10 shin out of 10.
Here I go!
Riding into 15 with Yun Sorai Rengeki. Probably one of the most show-off supers in this whole game, leading with a bunch of elbow and palm strikes to send them airborne. And while it transitions into the air, he rides them like a skateboard, performs multiple kicks to their head, and then finishes with a powerful one which drives the opponent face first into the ground. It's extremely character-fitting and is extremely brutal. Looks like someone has been spending a lot of their time playing some pro skater before entering the ring. Such a good one to go out on.
Can't stand up to my cup. Time to show off a little.
We are back in the weird territory by looking at one of the more memorable supers in this game with Hakan. Where I mentioned Oil Coaster was super memorable because of how weird it is, well, you can crank Oil Combination Hold up a few notches because this one is such a doozy. Catching the opponent as they're jumping, rolling on top of them, and then spinning around so their head is between his legs, he squeezes so hard they fly out of his hold like a popped cork, crashing face first into an invisible wall. It's extremely weird, but that's why I love this one so much. Like the combination, I hold this with great love and care. Diving into 13 with Ibuki's Crushing Heart Piercer, more well known as the Hashinsho. I just love the flow and pacing of this one. She jumps off their chest and unleashes a barrage of kunais. I love how the opponent attempts to block each one as they all start cutting them apart, and then Ibuki ends it with air dashing towards them and slamming them into the ground. This ultra is so fun to watch, and it fits Ibuki so well and is also extremely impactful. I really don't know what it is with Ibuki having some of the most awesome supers in every game she's appeared in, so if she makes it into Street Fighter 6, then be prepared for her to have a top tier critical art. Entering the top 12 with the Russian wrestler who was almost named Vodka Garbalski, Zangief with his famous Ultimate Atomic Buster. Wrestling fans will get a real kick from this one, starting with a German suplex, then lifting the opponent above his head to perform a reverse backbreaker, capping all this off by flinging the opponent into the air and then finishing them with a devastating spinning pile driver. Don't have beef with Geef or you'll be pile driven into the ground like the opponent here.
Ultimate
Taking a look at Adon once again with his Jaguar Revolver. This one sees Adon striking the opponent with a series of 4 spinning elbows to the face, with each hit knocking the opponent higher in the air and looking ever so painful. Finally, Adon finishes off with a brutal knee to the chin, including a good use of showing their face as it gets wrecked. And with that, this Muay Thai fighter is done with this list, just missing out on the top 10. So, who's left and who will take the top spot? Stick around and let's find out. Finally cracking the top 10 with a beloved Street Fighter Legacy character, Cammy. Cammy Quick Combination, or CQC, is another counter-based super, and I think it's one of the better ones. With each brutal twist does something no other super does to really sell the damage being done, by making the screen colors go inverted. It really sells how painful the twist of the neck and the arm are. Visually, the standout looks extremely painful. So, way to twist things up, Cammy.
Here's a present for you. Easy. It's all over.
It took a while to finally look at this dreaded Oni, but here we are with his first super, Tenshi Sokaigen. By slamming the ground, dark energy shoots the opponent into the sky, as Oni charges like a Dragon Ball character and strikes them by creating the iconic symbol as they fall back down. Cinematically, this is one of the coolest ones in the entire game, and it's one of the supers Maximilian Dude gave a 10 out of 10 in his Rate the Supers on this game. This was also referenced in the critically underrated Asura's Wrath 2, so you know that the team had a lot of fondness for this amazing super move. Way to kill this one, Oni, and show off your true wrath.
My power moves worlds. Stare into the face of death.
Time to wrap up the Wandering Warrior with his second Ultra combo, the Metsu Shoryuken. This Rising Dragon Punch is probably the best of the Rising Punches in this entire game, all thanks to the sound effects, camera angles, and the background changing with the ink splashes. My favorite little detail is the opponent's jaw as Ryu's fist starts striking them upward. It always gets a good smile out of me. Just wait until how this gets improved in Street Fighter 6. It's only better from here. But until then, see you in the next one, Ryu. You had a great run. Another legacy character we're closing out on is the joke of the Street Fighter series, Dan Hibiki. For how intentionally obnoxious this character is, trying to show off his Saikyo style, Shusu Buraiken really shows that off with a quick edited super with the quick strikes and ending with a Dan smile and thumbs up to the camera. It's so annoying and it's so weird, but it fits the character so well, which is why it's so high. This one is almost driven exclusively by personality. It's so dumb that you gotta love it. Just missing out on the top 5 is the last of our projectile ultra combos, Oni's Maido Gohado. This version of the Gohado is performed when Oni is touching the opponent and will trigger another animation, where instead the opponent gets yeeted as he sends another charged Gohado, hitting the opponent and leading to a really cool explosion. All of which is framed, paced, and shot extremely well, literally and figuratively. This demon took his shot and nailed it. Way to go, Hado, Oni.
Ashes to ashes! The gates of hell await!
Punching right into the top 5 with Dudley's second super, Rolling Thunder. Of many of the supers we've seen so far, this makes each of the punches look extremely painful. Paying tribute to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out with the punches sending the opponent side to side, perfectly capping it off with an uppercut and Dudley's pose from Third Strike. Sure, Little Mac may get a little pissed that you're pulling something from his playbook, but this one is just so memorable and amazing. Great supers, Dudley. Maybe we'll see you in Street Fighter 6, or I could cover you again if I decide to get into Third Strike. Who knows, maybe time will tell.
Keep it classy! Rolling Thunder!
Number 4, and we're closing out the representative of the Thunderhawk tribe, T-Hawk. Raging Slash is another grapple-based super, but with so much oomph. Catching the opponent and then treating them like a puny god, slamming them around, and then catching them once again, winding them up before slamming them into the ground with such great impact. Guarantee Thor and Hulk would be getting a good laugh out of this one, and so am I.
Got you! Raging Slash!
Taking the bronze medal is Zangief's second Ultra, the Siberian Blizzard. I know many people would prefer putting Ultimate Atomic Buster over this one, but I feel this one had a lot more fun with the cinematics and framing. I mean, for God's sakes, Zangief catches you in the air, puts you in a headlock, gets some more airtime somehow, showing a real fun camera shot where it just shows the opponent in absolute pain, to which he flips him in the air, puts him in a very uncomfortable hold, and then drives them to the ground. You can't tell me that's just awesome. Now I know how I got the nickname Siberian Blizzard. It's just so cool.
I am the protector of Russia's sky. Siberian Blizzard! Intercept!
Our runner-up comes from the newcomer from Street Fighter 4, Juri. Crazy her first super was at the second to last on the list, now her second is second overall. Kaizen Denkaryaku is just so awesome. She knocks the opponent airborne, spiking them downward and then zipping down fast enough to catch them with her own foot. As the opponent is all dazed and confused, I love the little taunt that she has asking if it felt good, and then she perfectly caps it off by spiking them into the ground. It was a great treat to see this come back as her level 3 super in Street Fighter 6. This Kaizen Denkarya kicks ass.
This is the end for you! That felt good, didn't it?
Coming in at number 1 is the Annihilating Great Rising Dragon by Evil Ryu, better known as the Misatsu Gosho Ryu. And what a fitting name for it. Evil Ryu charges up a few Gosho Ryus, punching them multiple times in the air. The third one, he flies above them, charging up a big punch, grabbing their face and slamming them to the ground with an explosive energy blast. This one is just paced so well, includes so much key energy, and just so much personality. I just think the framing is absolutely perfect, along with the pacing. It all just flows extremely well together. Of all 90 of the Ultra combos in this game, this is definitely the best one in the entire game.
Just embrace away!
And And after 2 parts, all 90 Ultra combos from Street Fighter 4 have been ranked from the worst to the best. Now I do want to apologize for splitting this into 2 parts. This was a huge project to put together, so I hope the wait was worth it. I've also just been extremely busy behind the scenes outside of YouTube. So let me know which one of these was your favorite, and who's your favorite Street Fighter? Let me know down below and I'll get back with you. With Street Fighter 4 wrapped up, it's time to look at the next game in the series. So, next time, we'll be covering the critical arts from Street Fighter 5. Come back next time for the full ranking on those. Until then, thank you so much for your continuous support. My name is Nick, and have a great rest of your day.
Fight.